Hello, I'd like to introduce you to my little friend over here. This is the trash can labeled antipsychiatry. See that? There's the trash can labeled antipsychiatry. And I'm going to place this trash can beside myself. I am Frank Blankenship, and I am a psychiatric survivor. You see that? It says psychiatric survivor. A psychiatric survivor is a person who feels they have had their human rights violated at the hands of the mental health system, the psychiatric system. Now I can live with this psychiatric survivor tag. It's a lot better than a psychiatric casualty tag. There are a lot of those. Psychiatric treatment casualties, and we'll go into that later. I'm going to hang on to this psychiatric survivor, and I'm going to put it here beside myself. That leads me to my next tag, the role of mental patient. See this piece of paper here says mental patient. And the mental patient is a role that I've known in my past, but I am not a mental patient. We've gone beyond that. No mental patient here. Mental patient. Anyway, I'm going to take this roll and I'm going to rip it up. And I'm going to feed it to my trash can. Antipsychiatry over here. You see that? Antipsychiatry. Alright. Next, I've got this other tag. It says mental health consumer. Mental health consumer. Some people consume mental health services. I don't happen to be one of those people, but some of these people who consume mental health services think of themselves as psychiatric survivors too. I'm going to take this tag, mental health consumer, and I'm going to rip it up and I'm going to put it in the trash can labeled antipsychiatry. Alright. Now I think maybe you can see where we're going here. Now, having been hospitalized, imprisoned in a psychiatric hospital before, I've had a few psychiatric labels attached to me. I want to show you a few of those psychiatric labels. First, we'll start with major depressive disorder. Here it is. Major depressive disorder, or number 296.3X in the DSM-4 for insurance purposes, of course. I have no reason to need nor reason to be depressed. I don't need this tag. If somebody wants it, they could attach it to themselves. I certainly don't need it. So I'm going to take this tag, major depressive disorder. I'm going to rip it up and I'm going to put it with our other labels in the trash can labeled antipsychiatry. Alright, now, there we go. The next label I have is another one that's been attached to me. And this is number 301.222. Excuse me, 301.22 in the DSM-4, the current version of the DSM, and it's schizotypal personality disorder. All right. Well, I'm not so much of an oddball as perhaps they'd want me to be, but that's what this is about, and I'm going to take it and, you know, become a regular Joe by tearing it up and putting it in the trash can. antipsychiatry over here. All right, now. The next label that's been applied to me, that's been attached to me, is the paranoid schizophrenic label. Paranoid schizophrenia, or number 295.30 in the DSM-4, for insurance purposes, of course. This is a pretty scary label. I don't need it. I can easily dispense with it, so I'm going to tear it up, scary as it is, put it in our trash can antipsychiatry. All right, here's another label that some psychiatrist has given to me, attached to me, and this label is undifferentiated schizophrenia, or 295.90 in the DSM-4. I don't care much for schizophrenia, you know, being the schizophrenia label being attached to me. I can live without it. I'm going to tear it up and I'm going to put it here in our trash can labeled antipsychiatry. All right, now. The next label that has been attached to me is number 295.70 in the DSM-4, or schizoaffective disorder. Schizoaffective disorder is like a catch-all category between schizophrenia and bipolar disorder. They may want to apply it to me. I don't necessarily want it applied to myself. If you want it, hey, you know, there's psychiatrists all over the place, and maybe one of them can label you with schizoaffective disorder. Anyway, I'm going to take this label and I'm going to tear it up and I'm going to add it to the labels in our trash can labeled antipsychiatry. There you go. Next, we come to something, to the issue of another part of these labels, and that's the adjective, the description, the label chronic. Chronic. You see there, chronic? Chronic means long-term or lifelong. Chronic is saying that you have a label that's sticking to you like super glue, and you can't recover from this label. Well, I can recover from it, and I'm not chronic, so I'm going to tear it up and put it in the trash can labeled antipsychiatry. There. Last but not least, we have the label I came up with for myself, a right fine fellow, or numero uno. I don't really want to get rid of this label right now, so I think I'll hold on to it. It's over here with psychiatric survivor. Now, the APA, or the American Psychiatric Association, is where these labels come from. The American Psychiatric Association is an elite. It's an exclusive club made up of people who have been educated in psychiatry. All of these people that are in the APA have degrees in psychiatry. It's an exclusive club. But part of the problem with this exclusive club is the predominant method of treatment today, and that is the dominating theory, which is biological psychiatry, biological medical model psychiatry. Now I'm going to take this label, well, this category, the APA, members of the APA, this exclusive club, and I'm going to break it up, and I'm going to feed it to our trash can over here. The trash can labeled Antipsychiatry. You got it. Now, some people feel that the APA, the American Psychiatric Association, is actually a gang of thugs. And why do people feel that the American Psychiatric Association is a gang of thugs? Because the American Psychiatric Association is closely tied to the pharmaceutical industry. And pharmaceuticals have done a lot of damage to people. People in mental health treatment today are dying at an age 25 years younger on average than the rest of the population. And the reason this is so is because of some of the drugs used in psychiatric treatment. And the APA, or the gang of thugs, is closely tied to the pharmaceutical industry. The revisers of the DSM, when the DSM-4 was revised, 57% of the psychiatrists associated with this revision on this committee were closely tied to, had ties to the pharmaceutical industry. You'd think it'd get better because they put regulations there dealing with this gang of thugs. But what happened, with the latest version being revised right now, that's scheduled for publication in the year 2013, is you have, even with regulations in place, 69%, more than the 57% associated with the DSM-4, have close ties to the pharmaceutical industry. So we're going to take this gang of thugs and we're going to break it up. We're going to break it up and we're going to feed it to the trash can labeled antipsychiatry, right there. Because of their ties to the pharmaceutical industry. If you can see there right there, there is the pharmaceutical industry and some of the biggest companies within that pharmaceutical industry. These big pharmaceutical industry companies are Johnson & Johnson, Pfizer, Roche, GlaxoSmithKline, Novartis, Sanofi, AstraZeneca, Abbott Laboratories, Merck & Company, Bayer Healthcare, Eli Lilly, and Bristol Myers Squibb. So I'm going to take this pharmaceutical industry and its biggest companies, as you can see right there, and I'm going to break them up so they can't go around, so that they can't do any more damage to people and feed them with any more misleading information, and I'm going to put them in the trash can labeled antipsychiatry, right there. All right. Now the DSM, or the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual of Mental Disorders, is a book put out by published, edited, and revised by the APA. This Diagnostic and Statistical Manual of Mental Disorders contains all of these labels that can be attached to people saying that they have a mental illness. I'm going to take the DSM with approaching 400 psychiatric labels, and I'm going to tear it up because I don't see much good in labeling people. I don't think very much good comes of it, and I'm going to put it here in, see that, the trash can labeled antipsychiatry. There we go. As I was saying, the DSM is what we refer to as the Shrink's Label Bible. It contains almost 400 psychiatric labels. I think the number is something like 365 or 374. Well, I'm going to take this Shrink's Label Bible and I'm going to tear it up and I'm going to feed it to our trash can antipsychiatry over here. All right? Whew. Wow. I feel so much better now.